A St. Pete man who set up a gun range in his backyard triggered a new law making that illegal in residential communities. Now, some people who live in rural areas say that law needs to be updated to include protections for them as well. But others who like to shoot on the property say more laws are not the answer. Common sense is. Spectrum News 9's Josh Rojas spoke to people on both sides of the debate.
Larry Molinowski enjoys shooting guns in his backyard range.
And it's fun to shoot and fun to do it, and I think it's perfectly safe.
Molinowski says there's no problem as long as you use common sense. Dr. Briar Mitchell also lives in the Sundance community just south of Sun City Center. Mitchell captured cell phone video of her neighbor shooting in his backyard on Sunday. Mitchell says her neighbor fired shot after shot for hours.
That's what I get to live with. Awesome, wonderful neighbors.
He was shooting for 3 hours straight. So for 3 hours, I had a friend over for coffee to visit. She just had to leave. We couldn't hear each other.
Mitchell's neighbor declined our request for an interview. Now, the reason that backyard gun ranges are allowed in this Hillsborough community is because each home sits on more than 1 acre of land. That means it's rural, not residential. But many residents here say so many people have moved in that the houses are closer together, and that law needs to be updated. Mary Chadwick says last August, a stray bullet from one of her neighbors went through her garage door, shattered the rear window of her car, and got lodged in her headrest.
The sheriff's office pretty much says their hands are tied by the law. There's nothing more they can do until someone's injured or killed.
Mitchell says she's going to meet with her state representative and urge him to add a nuisance clause to the backyard gun range law.
All we're asking is that the target ranges set up here be inspected for safety so we avoid the stray bullets, and that there's a time limit or even a caliber limit on the weapons.
Malinowski says he doesn't have a problem with the time limit, but he doesn't like increased government regulations.
But if you shoot with a good backstop in a safe downward manner for the distance that you have and the backstop you have, it's perfectly safe. You just need to be a reasonable human being.
Malinowski also points out there's no such thing as a government inspector for backyard gun ranges. In Hillsborough County, Josh Rojas, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Now, Governor Rick Scott signed that backyard gun range measure into law last year. All it requires for rural residents is for them not to pose a reasonable risk to life, safety, or property.